It is December 21st in this year 2020. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Matt Morgan and Alfred Konuwa. Finally, together, we're on a podcast.
It feels great. I really can't wait to do a podcast with you, Glenn. Set it off air. I'll say on air. I love your work. Excited to be with you tonight. And I'm always excited to be with the big guy, Matt Morgan. So this is going to be quite the dream team today.
Well, set the bar high there. You know, dare I say, the Wrestling Inc. podcast, the best of the year. Let's just call our shot right now.
Oh, man.
Wow. Go for it. And much like Raw or a Sir Mix-a-Lot song, it'll just be a little bit too long. Just so it'll have that extra verse that you didn't quite need, but maybe we'll bring it home.
Sure.
I was thinking about that this morning as I was working out to Sir Mix-a-Lot, and it was making me think of Monday Night Raw. And I was like, you know, Mix, not every song needs 5 freaking verses. Now in Testarossa, it makes sense because every verse corresponds to a gear in his car, and it's there. But Posse's on Broadway, Lockjaw, Swap Meet, Louie, even Baby Got Back. These things all go on just a little too long, and it really set my mood for watching Raw tonight in the 3 hours we saw.
Why do you know more than Baby Got Back for Sir Mix-a-Lot songs?
Posse's on Broadway, Buttermilk Biscuits,
Put it on the
Freak
glass.
Mama.
We've seen your bevy of songs. You know, the question is why.
Sir Mix-a-Lot's awesome.
He is a very underrated rapper. I mean, he just couldn't top Baby Got Back. But I mean, still, for those who are still interested, he had a good little catalog there.
No, absolutely. He did that song "Jump on It," where he just names all the area codes. He did that before Ludacris did. Sir Mix-a-Lot, talented man, but I'm just saying the songs are a little long. I think that's his detriment. And I think with Raw tonight, much in the spirit of Sir Mix-a-Lot, man, this was a long show tonight. I was having trouble staying awake. And when they announce the main event is a 6-man tag, first off, I'm thinking I'm just going to set my alarm and take a nap. But then when you tell me it's a 6-man tag, like a Holiday Miracle on 34th Street fight, like just change the channel. Just flip over, start watching the news. It's more entertaining than what you're seeing on TV tonight.
I want to know how many viewers they lost when they announced having a 6-man tag as their main again.
Yeah, I wonder how many viewers they lost when they said it was a holiday match, because it was advertised as a 6-man brawl. They didn't say anything about holiday on the website. And then as you're watching the show, they say, oh, no, Christmas trees will be involved. Stay tuned.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Oh, and I'm just thinking, when's AJ Styles going to go through that table with the eggnog on it? When's it going to happen? Counting the minutes. There was good stuff tonight, though. There were some good things. I have to say, A+, what they did with Alexa and Randy in that segment, and not having the Fiend back tonight.
Yes,
loved it.
Yeah.
It was very good. Nice to see Charlotte and Asuka kicking off the show as the women's tag team champions. Charlotte talking about coming back. Even the way it's set up, the match at the beginning getting interrupted, but not Charlotte and Asuka being in the match, but then ringside when Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose took on Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Enjoyed that.
If I can issue a quick correction, those are the sexy muscle friends. No longer Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, the sexy muscle friends as named by Asuka.
It works, and only Asuka could get away with giving them that. No, it was good. Like, there was a lot of stuff that was good tonight, but man, just a little too long. Like, but it started strong. It started well. So Charlotte's back, and what did you think, Alfred? Are they selling it too much, her friendship with Asuka, or do you think it's sincere?
I don't think it's sincere. What I like is that they did address that kind of caveat because they're not known for being friends, but Charlotte did hint that the only reason she teamed with Asuka was to get a shot at that Raw Women's title, because before they were interrupted, she started kind of going to business and saying, okay, now about that title. So I like that they at least had that to where she's not randomly paired with Asuka. They don't have this magical friendship out of nowhere. There is, she even said, there's something in it for her. So she's obviously going to get a shot later on down the road. So I'm glad their friendship is parsed in that caveat that she gets a title shot.
Did I miss something? Why did she get a title shot?
I mean, when you're Charlotte Flair, do you need a reason? Like,
well, so you just cozy up next to the, the champ, and you automatically get a title shot if you become her tag team partner. I still don't understand the logic.
It's WWE, man.
It sounds like an agreement that Charlotte, I think, has with. I mean, they were implying that the deal is that Asuka asked Charlotte to tag with her, and Charlotte agreed under the condition that she gets a future title shot. I think
All right,
that's
that
going to be
makes
revealed
sense.
later on down the road.
If
Yeah.
that's the way they go, that makes sense, obviously. But yeah, no, this was a good strong way, I thought, actually, to start off Raw. Gave me a little bit of hope.
Yeah. And Charlotte definitely has star power. I think I liked how they did this tonight, though, but they like by letting the other women have the match at the beginning. I like that they gave the chance to Peyton and Lacey later in the night. Like, this was a showcase for the women's division rather than just Charlotte comes in and it's the Charlotte show, which is my fear.
Oh, it's gonna go back to it, but
I know.
dude, I don't know. I mean, I know everyone thinks she gets gifted things or whatever. I still don't think. I still yet to watch a match of hers and go, she's overrated. Honestly, I come away going, holy crap, she's crazy athletic. Her promos have gotten better. She's much more confident than what she used to be. She looks the part as well. She has that champion pedigree look to begin with. Size, muscle, right? But her moveset too, and her confidence.
But isn't there that same problem where it becomes like reading a Superman comic and you just you know she's going to win at the end? Like, it's kind of repetitive.
But you've got to get that. It's like her dad. I don't want to compare her to her dad, but it's like her dad. When you close your eyes, you think of champion. At least when I'm a kid, I always think of Hulk Hogan. I always think of Ric Flair. And for females, I now would think of Charlotte Flair. So why that's important is you got to put the belt back on her to make the next one.
Yeah.
And really, they had a chance. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I still think there's a lot of money left on the table with Lacey. I think Lacey is, you think I'm crazy, but I think Lacey's just as talented. I think she's just as, almost as athletically gifted. Very close.
There's a lot of star power with Lacey. I really think they should do more with Lacey, too. I mean, I would say she's as talented as Charlotte, and I definitely agree with you, Matt, that I don't think there's any doubt of anybody that Charlotte is just a superstar and she's really good at what she does. I just think that maybe the problem is there's such a disconnect between WWE and their fan base that when, quote-unquote, the front office pushes somebody really hard, it turns into a push and pull with the fan base, right? Like, it's the same problem they have with John Cena, who's super talented, who's a Hall of Famer. But, at his peak, there's the super Cena dynamic, and I think Charlotte gets some of that, even though she is really good and she's super talented, and I love seeing her out there. But and when you were saying, what Matt is saying is absolutely right in terms of Charlotte being the champion, being able to make somebody. One of the reasons people are really upset with Charlotte, I guess, or they're taking it out on Charlotte, is that she had the chance to do just that at WrestleMania early this year, where she was a champion, or against Lacey, Rhea Ripley actually, and Rhea Ripley hasn't been the same since. They did the opposite of making Rhea Ripley. This was a proven star that they had, and she didn't win the match she should have against Charlotte, and she's never been the same since.
That was one of the stupidest booking decisions I've seen. I'm a huge Charlotte fan, but I went into that pay-per-view going, Rhea's going to be made tonight. She's going to be on her level. Rhea's another one that's actually close to her level as well. Tall, muscle, athletic as hell, crazy different look than the rest of them. Very different. And I thought for sure that was her breakout moment. I think we all did. And that was a terrible decision. Terrible decision. Charlotte didn't need to win that.
Yeah. The NXT championship
did not need it.
No, I agree. Let's see, what else do we have? Razor Jim 555 to 666 is saying he guesses that I dislike Metallica because of their long songs. There are a couple let's face it, the Black Albums, when they took off, when they started condensing stuff, just a little shorter, 3 to 4 minutes. It's not like Dream Theater where you got a 5-minute song before the song. Matt, what's your favorite Metallica song?
Battery and Master of Puppets were very good songs.
Pretty good. Alfred, do you have a favorite?
Invisible Kid. I know it's not a popular choice, but I love Invisible Kid. I mean, listen, Saint Anger is a very underrated Metallica album.
Wow.
I don't say that. I'm the guy. I'm the one guy who liked it.
That documentary, some kind of monster. I just can't take it seriously after that documentary. And seeing them in group therapy together. It's like the least metal thing ever. Joni Shauna Jenkins, Matt, a couples profile. Wonder what the story is behind that one. Hey, Matt, where do you see this feed angle going? Is it possible Brave returns with a new character or an old character? Matt, to you first.
Oh man, I hope not. I love the Fiend. But they've done a terrible job. I know, just sound like I'm burying the writers every single show that I do here with you guys, but they just make the worst decisions. I'm not trying to sound cheesy either by saying wins and losses matter, but they do. They actually do. And this is proof of it. Randy Orton had no business beating the Fiend. He had no business lighting the Fiend on fire and out-fiending the Fiend. Okay? Doesn't do anything for Randy. He's a Hall of Famer. It's the same thing I just said with Charlotte 2 minutes ago. It does nothing more for Randy's profile. Nothing. Zero. So, like, if he comes back as Fiend, the argument's, well, he's kind of cooled off now. I don't know. I think we see where they go with this, like what they bring him back. He definitely has to come back as Fiend. He's got to get his revenge. He's got to go over. But then from there, WWE, I'm begging you, I am pleading with you, stop booking your magical wizardry, right? Wizardry? Magician-like monster with special powers who can do whatever he wants. He can appear, disappear, light things on fire, do whatever the hell he wants. But he can't win a professional wrestling match. Stop doing that. I don't want to see that anymore.
Yeah, it's great. They had this star. I mean, they had a ready-made star. They created him. It's not like he came from somewhere else. It was a merchandising empire, and they literally have burned it down to the ground. I mean, The Fiend was a great character, but
Seth.
he's lost to Goldberg. Yes, it started with Seth.
Seth, right?
Yes. I mean, listen, maybe if they got a lot out of The Fiend, maybe years down the road, you do something like this once he's been built into a monster and had his run or whatnot. We are way too early into the run of The Fiend to be burning this thing down to the ground. So I think he does come back as something. At the very least, he'll have a different outfit, or it'll be a remixed version of The Fiend, but it will be different. But I just don't see why we're doing it this early.
I mean, what the hell? And by the way, I love the Bray Wyatt character. I saw nothing wrong with the Bray Wyatt family character. I know you didn't like him some time. You're like, what's he talking about? I don't understand what he's talking about. Didn't matter. No one knew what the hell Jake the Snake was talking about either. They just knew they were paying attention to him because he was crazy, and I was scared of him. Bray Wyatt was a dope character, too, by itself, originally. And they screwed that up, too. He didn't go over on people that he had. This is why I keep talking about. Writers have got to get towns to the finish line. All right? Wins matter. He should have went over on Cena, right? He should have went over on Undertaker. I'm sorry, if Undertaker's going to put somebody over, I thought it should have been someone like him at Mania.
And that's why he needs to come back as Muscle Man Bray Wyatt and finally just go all the way with it.
Vince will screw. I love Muscle Man Bray Wyatt, but he will screw it up. Vince will start doing his fat jokes from 1982. It'll be bad. He'll ruin it. Krana
Shah, $5. Look at that. Raj Giri just didn't even show up on a Monday. Look at all the money Raj Giri's bringing in with these super chats. Krana Shah, $5 saying, Raw does its lowest ratings ever. Vince's solution in Raw Legends Night Live, pal. Desperation for ratings when he should be making current stars into legends.
So did I miss something? Because I never pay attention to ratings, obviously. I have no way to follow that. I don't read wrestling stuff. So they just came off their lowest rating ever, Raw?
Ever.
Last week.
I shouldn't be laughing. But what the hell? What was it? Do we know by any chance?
1.527 million.
Oh my
1.5 million.
Holy crap, you guys. Do you know how bad that is? I'm not saying it's a bad con. I'm not. That's horrible, though.
It is bad. It is really bad. But this Legends Night stuff, I feel like we see Legends all the time. This isn't special.
No, of course it's not special. We just saw them during Undertaker's thing. And we saw the best of the best. We got to see the top shelf legends during Undertaker's retirement ceremony, right? So we're going to see Sarge. Sergeant Slaughter is a friend. I love him to death. He lived in the next town of mine. And when I grew up in Connecticut, love him to death. I don't want to see Sarge.
Yeah.
But is anybody surprised by this? Like, is there any surprise that Raw's coming off a super low rating? What's Vince's playbook? Either put the McMahons on TV or bring the Legends back. Like, there's really a couple of moves he has, and this is one of them. I don't think anybody's surprised that he's bringing back the Legends to get a short pop, and we're going to just keep seeing this cycle. The next move is going to be, I hate calling people's job, but Bruce Prichard should be nervous because he's probably going to take some executive as a scapegoat and shuffle that around. But this is just what he does.
I don't disagree. Anything you just said, Alfred. You're 100% right. Especially with the playbook.
Yeah. Disgruntled New York Jets fan Justin Lopez, $5. This Raw made me wish the NBA started tonight, except for the Bliss Norton stuff. The show dragged.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like it started okay. It just then really, really started to go downhill, and it never quite came back.
Started good. Bliss was good. That's all I got.
Yeah, it's been years. It's been years since Raw is justified in having 3 hours of television, given just the stories they're telling, the creative they have.
Yes.
Like, I can't remember the last time I thought, 3 hours is enough for the amount of talent and the amount of storytelling and whatever is going on in the show. Like, it's been several years since I think 3 hours is a good time frame.
Alfred, what would have to happen for Raw to be canceled, in your opinion?
Oh, well, I mean, it would really take a lot. They're in a very advantageous situation because USA Network really needs them. They really don't have much else. They haven't built a lot of programming around Raw. If WWE Raw left USA Network, they might not be a network, honestly. Like they're just kind of gone down. So it would, but it would really take if they go down below 1 million, and God forbid me putting this out in the universe, but if maybe USA Network saw there was more value in an AEW and they were able to scoop them up, something like that. It would take a lot of crazy things to happen, but I don't see it getting canceled anytime soon. But one of the things that would have to happen, the ratings would have to keep going down, which has been happening. So the more they go down, the more likely it is to happen.
Alfred, call me crazy, and sorry for going off on a side note here, Klein. I'm not trying to move the show on.
No, it's all good.
My bad. Alfred, do you remember TNN?
Yes.
When I was at TNA, Spike TV.
Spike TV. TNN turned into Spike TV.
Wasn't WWE on Spike, and then they were looking to still have wrestling? That's how we got on there to begin with, TNA somehow.
Yeah, and WWE actually did get canceled by Spike TV. It was kind of an ugly divorce, and they got outright canceled. But WWE was able to just go back to USA Network, so they can get canceled. But they're always going to have a platform, even if it gets so bad where they're only going to have the WWE Network to air this stuff. They're pretty much always going to have a platform to air this. It just there's a lot of unanswered questions.
I just want to know what is the gun that is the proverbial gun to their head that needs to happen for them to wake up and stop this nonsense.
USA Network to get other hits, I think, would be the number one thing. Like if the Purge TV series had caught on, if Chris Lee was pulling a better rating, if they still had Suits, maybe.
They had 5 more Mr. Robot.
Awesome. I loved. Oh, both great shows, by the way. Robot, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have any hits, and they've cut back their scripted programming greatly. So they need this. Like, they literally need the show. It's a centerpiece. And right now, production is so screwed up with COVID that it would take, I don't know how WWE could get canceled right now, maybe a year from now. But even right now,
to be clear, I don't want them to be canceled. I just want the threat to something to happen to threaten them to stop this. I don't know what has to happen.
I think if the stock goes back down to $15 or less,
that just gets somebody fired. It gets a Pritchard or somebody like that fired. Somebody new comes in. It needs to be bigger than that. It's not just that. It's the way of life there with how they book. It don't get these younger stars over and book them to win. To win. We don't need to see. There was a reason why wrestling used to work, where it was, let's say, a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being a main eventer like Hulk Hogan, right? There was a reason why the formula used to work of booking a 10 at the end of the show versus, let's say, a 4 or a 5 worked because the guy could obviously win and build up a steamload of wins week after week after week, after week. Now, because it's AJ Styles versus another main event level wrestler, it's always going to be 50-50. And then on the intercontinental, mid-card-ish type of level wrestlers, right? Same thing. Same guys at the same level, and they go 50-50. So nothing comes out of this. Nobody gets over. It's all a wash because they do not get these guys or gals to the goddamn finish line. It drives me insane.
Yeah. No, and even tonight, what we saw with Shayna and Nia picking up the win. Now, granted, it was over Dana and Mandy, but I think a reversal of fortune there. They've got a great single storyline. When Nia and Shayna break up, you could spin them off into a feud. And I think Dana and Mandy beating them would have done that.
Yeah, I'm more. Yeah. I love Nia Jax. I'm very interested always in her stuff. Pretty much, I think she's a very good heel. She's a jerk. She's a very good jerk. But sorry. But I do love the other tag team you just said as well, though. They don't really get as much as the others seem to get. I don't know why, what they got to do to get there. WWE's logic is, well, they're on TV again, and you know my theory is on that.
Yes, AEW Mark Morgan, $4.99, saying, I fear Vince just watched Ninja Turtles 2 and brings the Fiend back like Super Shredder. Spoiler alert. John Cena's Bald Spot, Matt, your favorite screen name, $5.
That is the funniest screen name.
Raw has their worst ratings ever last week. They respond by having an even worse Raw. Smacking my head, I feel like there's no hope for Raw. It's tough, man. It's tough. So after this first match, let's see. And again, like I think Charlotte and Asuka sort of upstaged them on commentary a little bit, but they did say they were going to have a non-title match against Peyton, Royce, and Lacey Evans later in the show. Nia and Shayna got that win. After the match, they stood tall. But then Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose came from behind, knocking them to the floor. So again, like nobody ever just loses and stays down. They even have to get like, the little spot after.
Yes, that's the problem.
Everybody just stays even. Nobody's special.
Yep.
Yes. Hey, let's talk about this awesome promo Matt Riddle cut on the Hurt Business tonight during their celebration. Like I keep thinking that he can't do less for me as a character, and every week somehow.
So I just gotta point something out, right? If I was still wrestling and like, God, in today's day and age with like podcasts like ours, just like, and up next is the awesome Matt Riddle promo. I would have a very hard time not going on social media and say, listen, Glenn Rubenstein, Matt Morgan, and everyone else who buries and whatever, like, F off. Like, I don't think I'd be able to hold it back. I think I would just start shooting on people.
We saw it tonight. He's not listening to this. He's too busy listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. That's where he gets all his deep thoughts and news about the world. Like this, just like this is like Japan himself saying the Matt Riddle character is a rib, right? Like
a rib in all caps.
Yes, I mean it's like they're trying to script him to be like the lamest character. Maybe that's his gimmick, like that he's super lame, but he thinks he's cool. Like.
That's the funniest. I'm sorry. That was the funniest super chat in quite a long time for me.
I mean, and with the Hurt Business, I mean, the Hurt Business is good tonight. They look great as champions. They've definitely got their swagger. They're on a roll, and I think this was a good potential feud to set up for them. I'm glad they're just not fighting the New Day anymore. That was getting really old.
I thought they would, didn't you, Alfred? I thought they'd be stuck with New Day a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to believe they wouldn't be. They've had the same two feuds for the past 7 months, and I'm glad they're actually spreading their wings now. And again, they keep Lashley strong. Another clean win for Lashley. Can this guy, at the very least, get another title shot or something? Because they've done the world of him. And listen, we're close to them doing a belt collector gimmick, so it would at least be believable that maybe they put all the belts on the Hurt Business to pop a rating. Lashley versus McIntyre one night on Raw. I'd love to see it. And I'd actually like to see Lashley win that match.
All the above, I'm in agreement with. Yeah. Yep.
Something, anything, change it up. And I mean, with MVP, I think it just makes sense. They need to have all the gold.
Yeah. MVP's been, he's proven me wrong. I remember when they re-signed him, I'm like, what? Like, not because he can't go in the ring or he sucks or anything like that, but just like, what's next? More to, like, you know what I mean? Like, Jimmy Wang Yang, like, what's next? Like, from that generation, right? But he's done amazing. He's an amazing mouthpiece. He's such a good promo. You could do so much with him. He could be a GM at any given time that you need a new GM. He's really good. He's worth whatever they're paying him and then some.
Yeah. Well,
Bobby's has helped Bobby a lot, actually, and the others.
Let's take a quick break. Thank the sponsor of tonight's episode, which is Hellofresh. With Hellofresh, you can get pre-measured ingredients, fresh pre-measured ingredients, and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door with Hellofresh, America's #1 meal kit. Hellofresh lets you skip those trips to the grocery store and makes home cooking easy. fun, and affordable. I've been using HelloFresh for years, and I love it because it offers convenient, no contact delivery to your doorstep for easy home cooking with the family. The recipes are easy to follow with simple steps and pictures to guide you along the way. And they cut out all that stressful meal planning and grocery store trips so you can enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in about 30 minutes. I also like that HelloFresh is the first globe and carbon neutral meal kit company. By skipping the grocery store and using HelloFresh, you're reducing your food waste by at least 25%. They deliver fresh, pre-portioned ingredients so you're not overbuying, which is a burden on the planet and your wallet. We were cleaning out some of the pandemic shopping we did this year last night, and oh my God, did we overbuy. When I do recipes still, I have this tendency where I always get too much and I'm not sure. And I love with HelloFresh, it's the exact right amount that I need to make the meal. The directions are so simple. It takes out all the guesswork. And HelloFresh delivers fresh, high-quality, pre-portioned ingredients. Those meals are delicious and nutritious, and over 90% of the ingredients are sourced directly from growers to ensure their peak flavor and ripeness. They offer now more than 20 chef-crafted delicious options every week to help you break out your recipe rut, try new things, and make any night feel special. And there is something that everyone will enjoy, including 20-minute meals, low-calorie meals, vegetarian meals, kid-approved recipes, and more. And this is great. This is something that keeps me coming back to HelloFresh again and again. It is flexible for your lifestyle. You can easily change your delivery days or meal plan preferences and skip a week whenever you need to right on the app. And you can keep your fridge stocked by adding extra meals or additional proteins, quick meals like breakfast on the go or their 10-minute lunches, even desserts to satisfy your sweet tooth. Now, we've got a deal for our audience, and I want you to order this now because you're going to have this to start your new year off, right? You're going to do something different. You're going to be cooking. You're going to be eating better with HelloFresh. Go to HelloFresh.com/INC80. And use the code INC80 to get $80 off, including free shipping. Again, go to HelloFresh.com/INC80, INC80, and use the code INC80, INC80 to get $80 off, including free shipping. We thank HelloFresh for sponsoring the podcast. Love having them back on the show. Look forward to a partnership with them in 2021. You're going to look forward to using them. It's going to change your routine. It's going to make mealtime a snap. I love to cook, and I'm telling you, I make the same 5 things most all the time. What's great about HelloFresh is you're going to try new things. You're going to find things you love, and you can work those recipes into your repertoire and constantly be adding to it and get that confidence through HelloFresh. So go to HelloFresh.com/INC80 and use that code INC80 to get $80 off, including free shipping. We thank HelloFresh for sponsoring the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Back to the show tonight. Angel Garza got a win over Drew Gulak. We still don't know. Who's the rose for? Who's the admirer?
I was happy.
That?
They may have, but I was just happy to see him back, though, right?
He's super talented. He's one of those guys. I love the fact that, I mean, they made him super aggressive, and they're trying to do this thing where he's like a Lothario, but he's got every rose had his thorns or whatnot. But it was really good to see him back.
He's one of the most naturally talented youngsters. God, I sound like I'm like 95. One of these young whippersnappers on the roster that they have. No, he really is, though. He has such natural charisma to him, and that's hard to have. It's very hard to get. It's why I get so fired up with, and we'll get to it later, the booking of Keith Lee. Somebody that's so dang different that you're not going to get another version of. No matter how hard you try, you're just not. Every once in a while, there's talents that are just, you can't copy. They have it. And I swear to you, I'm not overrating him. Garza has it.
Yeah.
There's something about him.
Just a bad character, though. I mean, this character,
you're working with a company, and I'm not trying to be, over the top here with this, but they, time and time again, year after year, they've proven what? When they get lazy, they do stereotypical type of booking for whatever that person's ethnic background generally is. Mm-hmm. They get very lazy. Stuck in 1982. And even in 1982, it was boring to a degree.
Yeah, and the presentation often comes off as so tone deaf that they have to keep calling him Lothario, and they've got all these buzzwords for him. And he was pretty much doing this gimmick in NXT, but it was so toned down, and it was like he was just like a realistic, creepy guy who's going to hit on your girlfriend, which that's the He doesn't have to be this packaged thing. He's just a guy that you just want to keep your girlfriend close because he's going to try. He's an F-boy. But like now in WWE, he's this pre-packaged like guy that nobody relates to, and they have to use all these words that nobody uses. But yeah, he's so talented, and that shines through. But the more they make him talk and do all this stuff, they're just screwing him up.
They are.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Justin Lopez, $4.99, saying if Riddle were still going by Matt Riddle, he could be referred to himself as the new Matt in the Hardy Bros tag team.
I never even thought of that.
That would be good. That would be better than the way it's going currently. Wrestling Enthusiast, $1.99, saying Matt MVP's era kept WWE healthy in the mid-2000s.
P.S. Wrestling Enthusiast. I was there! No shit!
Were you? I don't really remember. Oh, that thing with the Mexicools. That's right.
2002 to 2003. Yeah.
I keep saying I'm going to go back and rewatch that, Matt. I keep saying, like, I tell the wife, say we're going to rewatch Matt's season of Tough Enough, and we're just going to watch his entire run in WWE.
Yeah. Well, don't blink.
Sean Hunter, $5. Hi, guys. Raw was boring besides Bliss and Randy. When will Randy learn he can't kill anyone? He tried to kill Taker twice and failed. LOL.
That is pretty funny, actually.
Antoine Fair, $5, saying, Matt, is it too simple to say that WWE is hiring the wrong type of writers like they hire drama and comedy writers?
Yes.
Why not action-driven writers?
Why not action drive? They need, in my opinion, you can't go wrong by having former wrestlers. I really believe that. It's worked for many, many years. There's a reason for it. Oh, but Matt, there's so many platforms now. You have to be with the times and know where. Please, wrestlers understand the psychology. They know how to get over, and they're very generally, because they're no longer wrestling, so they're not being selfish anymore and just trying to hold on to all the juice themselves and all the magic themselves. They're willing to pass it on to somebody younger because that's supposed to be their job now. It's why they've always made better writers, I thought, or bookers. And they've not done it that way. That's the only thing, you guys. If you look back on when wrestling took a huge decline, what is the only thing that they've not done yet? They haven't got rid of writers and brought back in wrestlers. That's the only move they've not made. Think about it. There might
be a problem with too many cooks in the kitchen, too. Yeah.
There definitely is. And you have a bunch of yes men that are terrified of Vince looking at them sideways versus a former wrestler that's not. I'm not saying they're going to get into an argument per se with the guy, but they're going to know how to talk to him. They're going to know how to talk to the rest of the others in that company, like Kevin Dunn and whomever. But more importantly, the talents themselves still know how to talk to. I don't know. A lot of people used to give, I see Road Dogg a hard time on SmackDown. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? SmackDown, when Road Dogg was on, I enjoyed that SmackDown.
That's Ryan Ward as well.
Brian Ward. We were seeing Daniel Bryan and AJ. Like, we were seeing some cool stuff.
Yeah.
I thought, at least. But I don't know. That's my opinion. It's the only move they've not made. You guys tell me what I'm missing, because they've tried. Let's get rid of these wrestlers. Let's bring in these wrestlers. We got rid of this writer. We'll bring in this writer. They've not tried the one thing yet, and that is no more writers. I know it sounds crazy. You have to have some writers there, all right, because they have a lot of hours of television. I get that. That's good for them, writing their stupid little vision boards and whatnot. That's awesome. But they need wrestlers, former wrestlers like Kevin Nash, really smart wrestlers from the past, Scott Hall, guys like that know what the hell they're talking about, and see what that does. That's the only thing that I've not seen them try.
Alfred, what's you cover this business and certainly know more than Matt or I do currently. Like, what's the current breakdown? I know for a while there was like the big wave of the soap writers that were there, guys like Tom Casiello and others that were tenured from the soap opera background. We've had reality TV writers. I know, yeah, and they let a lot of people go recently, including the woman that did the Otis and Mandy storyline.
Yeah, and I believe, had a comedy background too. But they still have like a pretty diverse group in terms of not the makeup, but in terms of their writing background. They generally concentrate on comedy, soap opera, drama, television writers. I mean, there are a few like television writers who are used to writing sitcoms and scripts and stuff like that. But I mean, it is fair to question whether or not they're getting everything out of these writers that they can. Because at the end of the day, there is a certain style of writing that will get you on WWE TV. People know what the chairman likes. People know what type of jokes and comments and whatnot are going to get you on there. And as much as they change writers, replace it with the wrestlers and whatnot, there's going to just be this cycle. I think the one constant above all else is Vince McMahon. And in terms of writing for him is a completely different task than using my writing background to write what I find is compelling professional wrestling. So, it's fair to question. There's been a lot of talented people come through WWE. You know, the woman that you're referring to, I know for a fact is a very talented writer. We follow each other on Twitter. She's really, really good at her job. I don't question for a fact that she couldn't come in there, especially as a woman, because I know that the writing staff, I believe, with her departure, is predominantly male. I know Dana Ware, the Ultimate Warrior's wife, was brought in there for a little bit. But there is a doubt in my mind that she could have brought a fresh perspective, or a number of people could have. Anybody there can. But at the end of the day, you got to write a certain style for Vince.
So here's the end of the day. The end of the day is the bell rings, right? That's the majority. Like, that's what it's supposed to be, professional wrestling. At the end of the day, that's why they call we call it sports entertainment, but it's what we do in the ring is wrestling. The hardest thing that I used to have a hard time with is when a writer would come to me and tell me how I would act. This is how you would do this. No, I wouldn't. No, that's terrible. That is not how I would act, actually. Here's how I would do it. And if I did that, I offend them. They get all butthurt about it. And then my job's on the line as a talent for talking back. They've got to, I'm telling you, they got to at least try something. Scale back the writers then, something. And put former wrestlers in there. Because how are you going to tell a wrestler how to be a wrestler? That's your job. I know we call it sports entertainment, but still a pro wrestler. How are you going to tell a person how they're going to be in a certain case scenario? I go back to Russo, who I loved actually writing for me. Vince did a very good job overall in writing for me over the years. So I'm not trying to be like ungrateful, honestly. But with that said, I'll never forget the promo with Scott Steiner. I knew what Scott was going to say to me. He's going to run me down, run my wife down. And I was supposed to sit there and like take it. I'm like, Vince, I would never do that in 1,000 years. Why am I doing this? Oh, brother, the payoff's going to be at the pay-per-view when you beat him. You got to let him get his steam on you first. I'm like, he's not getting steam on me. He's taking a steaming dump on me is what he's doing. And even when I get that win back, it won't matter because I just got verbally big dogged in front of a national audience and got clowned, and they didn't see the blueprint act like the blueprint. All right. In real life, I would never let that happen. All right. I would backhand him from here into the third row. Something. Especially you bring my wife into it or my girlfriend into it in real life. Right. So let me do that. Let me react. You know, so like that's just one situation I can remember like yesterday of a writer not getting the talent that they're writing for in a moment. And it goes all across the board in the women's division and men's divisions. When writers, how could they possibly know? They've never been in a fight in their life. How are they going to tell somebody how they're supposed to react? Not when they won.
Not a fight they won, Matt.
You know, can they tell them how to write a really funny fart joke and get that over? Probably. That ain't why I'm tuning into Raw.
That promo you look at AEW and how well they're doing. You look at how WWE in its golden age, you know, listen, maybe it is a good idea to have writers in wrestling, but pro wrestling, especially right now, national, seems to thrive and do just well for itself without any writers, with, you know, input from the guys who are in the storyline with bullet points. I think the problem with writers in mainstream wrestling is it makes it come off as a little less authentic because now everything's scripted. And then there's enough politics in wrestling to begin with. You add a bunch of writers to that, and like what Matt was explaining with these writers and the talent they want to write for, and the disconnect between wrestlers and writers, you add that into it, there's even more political minefields. So I think they might want to eventually try just the less is more approach.
Yeah. And talents, if they're not ready yet, no offense to those talents, they shouldn't be on television then.
Yeah.
You should be able to rely on your talent to come up with some stuff. It's like, here's your storyline. You have 6 month arc. Here's your 6 month arc. You versus Bray Wyatt, Matt. Here's where we're going with you. Here's what we need to get with you. And then when the day of TV comes, they say, hey, you have a 2-minute promo. This is what we need you to get out of this, right? I should be talented enough, good enough to do that on my own and offer, say, hey, this is what I'm going to go out and do. I'm going to say something along these lines. And they got to have the trust in me to go out and then deliver that. Oh, well, these talents are so young. They don't have that kind of pedigree and experience. Then that is a major, major problem. Because I will argue I'm watching Roman Reigns right now on top of the wrestling world. And you could bet your asses he's got a major influence in writing his own stuff right now. And it's working.
Yeah. Yeah. And you never responded to Scott Steiner.
No, I did, but it was like, oh, it's good. Oh, I forget what it was, but it was like in my head. I'm like, this is horrible.
Sasha Banks, when she said she was going to call herself the Blueprint, they said, "Aren't you afraid of upsetting Matt Morgan?" And she's like, "I saw his response to Scott Steiner. I'm not afraid of shit."
You talk very tough from 1,000 miles away.
3,000 I'm gladly going to guest referee for this.
Yeah. Bigfoot Sneakerhead 499. A friend of mine used to be a WWE writer, and he left after 1 year. That should tell you something.
Wow.
And a lot of them are traveling.
They get treated like shit as well. Let's be very clear about that. They get treated like crap, a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's a thankless job.
Marie Johnson, $5, wants to know, Matt, did you watch the Being the Elite Christmas episode?
Come on, what kind of question is that? Of course I did. Yes. Yes,
okay.
I did.
It's actually very good.
Brandon Hall, $5, saying, I know this has nothing to do with the Raw tonight, but my goodness, where in the hell is Lars Sullivan? Brandon, you're the only person asking that question.
Literally the only person, Brandon.
Yeah. What's going on there?
He's a big hoss.
Yes. It's more Vince Vince was excited for him for a couple of weeks. He was on TV, and then this is what happens to everybody. Just take whatever your favorite wrestler is. In 3 weeks, you'll be asking, "Hey, whatever happened to that
guy?" Keep hoping for that with Matt Riddle. Not yet. Shooter McCaffin, £5. The biggest effort WWE creative put into tonight's show is building the Lexus swing set. It was impressive.
Yeah, they did a lot. It might have been. It was probably pre-tape, but I mean, they really turned the lights on and they did the whole setup. I liked how it looked.
Yeah, it's good.
That should be the new moment of bliss. They should just have 2 swing sets, and that should be her talk show. Is she swinging with somebody, and they're just having a conversation?
Swinging with Alexa Bliss.
But she's got to be crazy spooky when she's doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Zook Enigma, $1.99, saying, Paul Heyman writes Roman's promos.
Please tell me you're actually not getting in the conversation with me about this. Guys, it's already out. Romans has a major say in what he's doing right now with his storyline. He's going to pass the credit on, obviously, to Paul. And, of course, Paul's helping with his promos. Are you kidding me? Of course he is, duh. But they're not regurgitated, scripted lines that are being fed to him. And more importantly, the storyline itself. A lot of this is Roman. I know you guys still are butthurt about Roman getting over, despite you all hating on him. But he's over. He's the biggest star in the business. Swallow it whole, all of you.
So speaking of regurgitation, tonight, Miz TV, Miz out there with AJ
Styles. So much. Sorry.
Well, did it feel like Miz was just going back to the bag of tricks in that Talking Smack promo tonight?
Yes.
Doing that intensity, like I'm overlooked, make people proud, yada, yada, yada.
Yes.
Like very replay tonight. With that,
he's done replays of that a couple of times since to varying degrees. Like I think in the Barclays he did something like that really worked, but more times than not it doesn't work. And this was such a painful reminder of all I could think of hearing him like rant like that. I was like, oh, remember when he got over doing this years ago? That was really cool. And then now I'm watching this and it's just a parody of what he just did because he looked like a complete clown last night.
Yeah, it was bad. He did offer AJ Styles a role in the Marine 7 though. So. Fingers crossed.
I swear to God, I'm being a smartass. I didn't know there's this many Marines. I had no idea.
Well, the Miz wasn't in all of them. There was John Cena, then Randy Orton, and then the Miz took over in.
Well, there was Ted DiBiase.
Oh, Ted DiBiase, pardon me. He replaced Randy Orton in part
2. But my point is, I didn't know there was more than 3 or 4 of them. Honestly,
yeah, Miz was in 3, 4, 5, and 6.
So when he used to say those promos, I always thought he was joking.
No, it's just true. There's one good. The last one with Becky Lynch was actually pretty good. At HBK.
She was the Marine?
No, she was the bad guy.
Ooh.
Huh. Yeah. I heard HBK was great in it.
Yeah, he can act. He's legit.
Who?
Shawn Michaels.
Oh wow.
This set up things for Miz says since Morrison cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase, he should get it back. Just let it die already. This has gone on too long this year and not been interesting. But Matt, let's talk about the match everybody's talking about, the match you were dying to see tonight, and that's T-Bar versus Ricochet with the Retribution at ringside.
Throw it to Alfred. I don't even want to dignify it with an actual judgment of this match. Alfred, what'd you think?
There was a nothing match. I mean, it just doesn't make it. Ricochet has to join Retribution at this point. I mean, what's he gonna do? I don't want to see it. I didn't want to see it at the beginning of this feud, but there's nowhere for him to go. Maybe the Hurt Business. Actually, you know what? I'd like to see him do a swerve, and maybe he joins the Hurt Business. But something has to happen with this character. It's hopeless.
What does he do? He joins the Hurt Business. Does he capture the cruiserweight title for their gold rush? Maybe. I mean, this is another squandered talent. Again, it's not his fault.
Yep, Nate Monroe, Buck99 saying, can't believe they ruined Ricochet. I mean, when T-Bar's beating you.
Seriously, like that sentence right there, just my blood pressure's to the roof.
Yes. Let's talk about something better. Well, slightly. MVP and Bobby Lashley versus Riddle and Jeff Hardy. And thank God the Hurt Business got a win here.
Thank God is right. Yes, that is a tag team that no offense to Jeff, that I have any interest in watching ever again.
And this is, I mean, we talk about 50-50 booking all the time, but the Hurt Business is the exception to the rule lately, where they've actually been booked pretty strong, and coincidentally, they seem more interesting. And it was good to see Lashley get another win, but the stuff with Riddle is it's pretty painful when you look at how serious a Hurt Business is most of the time.
You know the worst part about it, Alfred? Sorry, is that Matt Riddle is like a legit badass. Like, he can kick people's asses in real fights. And the stuff he does in the ring is so darn original. I like watching him wrestle. I really do. What am I missing here? I know they're trying to put the bells and whistles on. They're trying to add more garnish to the steak. I get that. But they're missing badly. They're not putting garnish on the steak. They're like dumping
ketchup.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 5-week-old lettuce all over it's ruining it. And it's like, he doesn't need all that stuff. He doesn't need all that sizzle. The sizzle is his work. The sizzle is like how he does really talk in real life, right? They don't have to, they oversaturate it is what they do. He says bro a couple times, in a sentence, and it becomes, now he's going to say it 36 times in 1 minute, right? That's what I mean. They overdo it. They overkill it. It's annoying as hell. He doesn't need it because he's so talented. He's really talented. It's a shame.
Yeah. I think Riddle's charisma makes Baron Corbin look like Roman Reigns. Just bad. Very forced.
It is forced.
So the Hurt Business got the win there. Then we had Jackson Riker versus Grand Metalik. Quick match with Riker getting the win. Riker's with Elias. We saw a lengthy recap of last night's Firefly Inferno match. And then Randy Orton came out and cut a promo, and this was kind of standard, like, I
let a guy on fire.
Yeah, I let a guy on fire, burning flesh, whatevs. It's almost Christmas. Happy holidays, everyone. No, this was standard, but then Alexa Bliss showing up was cool, and I like how she teased the Fiend's return. But Matt, to what we were talking about last night, I really, really hope that this is now Alexa's time to shine and get a good singles run in.
Yeah. Beyond her time.
Yeah.
Hopefully, health-wise, she's on the up and up, and she's okay, and she's able to.
Yeah.
Even though she was making
the Raw title, and it'd be nice to see Alexa take that title.
Oh yeah.
And I think they could sell it really well with her having like these other worldly powers now. I think against Asuka, that would be a very good challenge.
I'm serious. I want her powers too. Yes.
Yeah. This was good. This is what I recommend people watch tonight. If you skipped everything else, watch the segment with Alexa.
I can't believe I just can't believe I said that sentence, but I really do. I'm so emotionally invested in her in this angle.
Yeah.
That's the next step, maybe. I don't know. But she's more interesting than Bray is right now. And that is shame on WWE to a degree. Good for her for taking the ball and spiking it 10 times in the end zone. Great job on her. But WWE has done a terrible job with Bray Wyatt and The Fiend.
Looks like they'll be calling that segment Alexa's Playground. I hope that returns with the swing set and all that production. It really looks different than anything they've done recently. So I like Alexa's Playground. It's a good concept.
It's creepy, too. It was good.
Maybe they can get another Bad Creation to remix the song. BBD. Yes. Get it right, Matt. It's Boys to Men, ABC, BBD.
Oh, Jesus, right.
The East Coast family. Still got that on cassette somewhere.
Your aunt videotaping this is super proud of you right now, Glenn.
One of my regrets in life is that I've never seen New Edition or Belle Biv DeVoe in concert.
I feel the same way about Prince.
Yeah, I did see Prince, 2004. The tour where he was doing the old stuff. It was very good. It was very good. The new edition, every time they reunite with all 6 of them, I think this is going to be the time.
Yeah.
I never go. Need to finally go. Naughty or Nice 19, $4.99 saying Alfred tight sweater, man. Oh, I see.
Thank you. Bigfoot.
Yes.
Bigfoot. Yes. Kind of a Christmas deal there. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that. And you know what? It matches the color of the super chat. I wonder if that was on purpose.
Oh, there you go. So let's see. Tim Mickles pointing out that Belle Biv DeVoe was awesome in concert.
Yeah, they were.
I think Charlotte Flair and Asuka versus Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans. Wonder who won this match. But Matt, how do you think Peyton and Lacey fared?
I still think I like Peyton on against her. I just, you know what, I think Lacey should be a single star by herself. Yeah. Major single star by now. By herself. You know? Remember, I was against her. Like, I thought that was a stupid gimmick they were doing with her. It's like this woman, we're supposed to believe this woman was stuck under the ground for like
that was my theory.
50 years, right? What would you call it? A time capsule?
Yeah, like a blast from the past situation.
Yes,
the bombshell from the bomb shelter.
And like we were just throwing grenades on it, right? But then like she won me over. I'm like, she believes this, so therefore I believe it. And that's so hard to do, especially with that gimmick, right?
Yeah.
And just there alone should have proved to WWE, okay, she could take something and get it over. She's somebody we need to put the rocket on and protect. They have not done that. It's hard to watch her and stuff like this. It's hard. When you know
there's
she's
a lot of wrestlers who are kind of ill cast in these roles on the women's tag division. Watching this show made me realize just about every women's tag team they have is just this mishmash of strange bedfellows who don't want to be teaming together. And like in 2020, they had Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. They had the Iconics. They had Alexa and Nikki. They had Bayley and Sasha, and they all broke up. And so now everything's all mixed up, and it's completely screwed up the tag team division. I mean, it's a complete joke.
You're right.
Yeah.
He's right. Yep.
Leon's Duncan saying, don't try to compare us to another bad little fad. I get that reference.
Love that.
Yes. Did we talk about, Matt, whether you did the backwards close or the inside out close in the early 90s?
I asked you that. I said you totally did that.
I did not. My brother did. I told you the story. My brother wore the totally crossed out look.
You never in your bedroom, which I'm sure you had a nice mirror in it so you could do this, and watched yourself as you put this stuff on. You're like, okay, maybe I can't go to school like this, but I'm going to rock this for a few more minutes while I dance to jump.
Matt, maybe I can't go to school like this, whereas you and I both shaved lines into our eyebrows, Vanilla Ice style, but somehow backwards clothing was a step too far.
Well, unlike you, I was 6'8" as a friggin' freshman, and I had clothes that didn't fit me, so I was screwed no matter what. And my brother's hand-me-downs that were terrible. Nut huggers, the worst.
In fairness, I didn't really understand what cultural appropriation was until like 1999. So there may have been some unfortunate fashion. Might have been rocking some cross colors in 92. I may have owned an X hat at one point.
Did you ever have cornrows?
Yeah.
No, I never had
cornrows. Crew cut hair like this.
Yeah.
Or a shaved head.
X hats were so over in 92.
Yes, they were.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, they were.
AEW Mark Morgan $4.99 saying Flair versus Lacey would blow the roof off a Mania match.
Yeah, they absolutely would if they treated Lacey correctly. Yeah.
So of course Charlotte and Asuka picked up the win here, and then Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are scowling backstage. But then the main event, the holiday street fight, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and Keith Lee versus AJ Styles, The Miz, and John Morrison. How excited were you for this, Matt?
Not the minute they announced it. Again, I don't know what's. Hey, this week on Raw, folks, this is going to be the main event. I don't know that stuff going into these shows, just so you know. So when the show was on and they announced that, I was like, ugh, I don't want to see this. Hopefully Keith Lee gets over. So Keith Lee ends up winning this match, which I love that for obvious reasons. I still think he's 1 in a million. Big time, I do. So I was happy to see him get a win. But as usual, it had to come with hijinks after. It had to come with crap. It had to come with Sheamus laying him out. I hated that.
AJ beating someone with a candy cane kendo stick, hitting Drew.
This is akin, well, not as bad as a pumpkin being put on Doc Owls' head, but still, it's pretty bad. It's up there.
How would you have felt? I'm sorry.
If I had a pumpkin on my head?
Saying, like, it's like, it was like 7:35 and it was like time for the main event, and you're just seeing them pan around the ring and you see the cookies on the table, and it's like the arrogance of this company coming off their worst rating ever. To think that in the third hour, this is going to get me, like, the arrogance.
100%. 100%. That's exactly where I was at, and I was so tired at this point. And I'm going to tell the fans the truth. I started to conk out here. I'm dead ass serious. This is right where I started to fall asleep. That should not be happening. I should be crescendo. Again, I use that word crescendo. Crescendo throughout the whole show with my excitement. I can't wait to get to the main event. That's what's got me through these 3 hours to see what this mega main event is going to be. But they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But could you imagine Matt backstage? They're like, Matt, good news, buddy. You're going to be in the main event tonight. Oh, what's happening? You're going to be facing the champ. Oh, really? You're going to be beating him with a candy cane kendo stick.
Okay, so the mark and businessman inside me, like, all right, that's cool. Business for me. I'm the guy going over. Good. I get over. But I'm going to get Heather Cornette's head voice in the back of my head going, you're getting some all over you, man. Yeah, I could hear that too. But which is when you're in shitty segments, Alfred, you don't want to get any on you. Like, if there's terribly booked stuff for you, sometimes it's better not to be booked on TV at all. You know, because you could do worse damage to your character, I believe, when you're written terrible stuff, i.e. see Matt Riddle right now. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's better not to be on until they have something better for you that fits you. Especially as a bigger guy. As a bigger guy, you have to be very careful with how you book your big guys.
Absolutely.
Or big girls, for that matter. You do. You got to be very careful.
I agree with Daniel Bryan, RBLX. Alexa Bliss on the swing set should have been the main event. Like, that should have been the goal.
That should have closed the show. I agree.
That was fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really good.
Like Keith Lee winning, though. I don't want to like cheapen that or take away from the fact they did the right thing by having him win and be the guy who picked it up. I know it wasn't like a huge way for him to win, and he just came in, cleaned house, and then he picked up the pinfall. I get that. But still, it's a win. It's in the right direction for him winning matches at least and not losing, which I still will never understand how they brought him in the way they did. But I'll shut up because I hate it.
You know, I just thought of something really quick, not to go off schedule, but that whenever things open back up and everything goes back to normal, that swing set when they do WrestleMania Access could be a really popular item for the kids. Just go on there, adults just go and swing and take. That could be really popular.
I bet you they'll do it.
Yeah,
it's still around. Yeah.
And that's what kills me is they're capable of doing so much. Okay, they're capable of doing one or two cool things a week, that it just makes you hate everything else.
Yeah,
you know,
it's the basics. That's what's so frustrating. That's what it feels to me is the basics they lack.
Yes. Just Lopez saying this was a sorry ass excuse of a street fight.
Really, you didn't get street fight out of that, guys? Really, the candy cans didn't do it for you?
Could you imagine the game Street Fighter if it was like this? If there's Holiday Street Fighter and Ryu putting Chun-Li through some.
Please don't read the next sentence because then it makes it that it was true tonight.
Chris spent $2. AJ throwing cookies was the best part of the match.
What in the world? World-class athlete AJ Styles, one of the best wrestlers of his generation, if not the. He's throwing cookies at people. Good stuff.
Who would have thought how your careers would have turned out when you were both in Impact together?
Before that, I'll go back to my WWE trial camp. He's the first person I ever locked up with that had an actual full match with when I had zero training. And this kid was so friggin' good. He got me through a 17-minute match.
Wow.
I had no experience. All I had to do in Tough Enough was how to front bump and back bump. That's all I learned on the show before I injured my knee and had to go home, right? AJ, I remember being like, what am I supposed to do with this guy? To Tom Pritchard. And he's like, well, figure it out. We just want to see if you can move, walk gum. What was it? Chew gum and walk at the same time was basically my test.
Yeah.
But that's how damn good he was. He small packaged me against like my will. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to take that. But he put me in position. He's so good. He's so goddamn good.
Could you imagine if someone from the future had come to the both of you and said, one day one of you is going to be one of the top talents in WWE and a multi-time world champion, you would have turned to him and said, hey man, talent's talent, but some of us are just genetically gifted. Sorry, shorty. And look how the tables have turned and the careers.
Well, how did you get that out of anything I just got done saying?
No,
By
because
giving
my
him props with that? Because you're being a smartass tonight, trying to show off in front of your new boyfriend here, Alfred, and I'm going to call you out for it.
I am single. I would like to know. He's not my
married man.
Ladies, hit me up.
But anyways, you're getting a little lippy, and it's cute, and I'll play along with it for another few more minutes. But again, I'll take any day of the week representing 16,000 people and improving their lives over being a fake, phony wrestler wearing a fake title belt any day of the week. So I would be very proud of where I'm at, actually.
But what if they told you get to throw cookies in the main event and beat someone with a candy cane kendo?
No, and AJ Styles at that time in camp, by the way, was the cream of the crop. He was the most sought-after guy for WWE that they were recruiting at the time. They screwed up by giving him a $500 a week developmental deal. It was the stupidest thing they did. They could have had him on their roster way, way, way back in 2002. But who knows how it would have worked out for him, because I've heard people say things like, he would have been misused. They would have screwed him up in the cruiserweight division, which I could see that for sure. Because guys like Paul London and guys like that were very talented too, and they misused them badly. Wrestling wasn't where it's at today, where the shorter guy gets a fair chance at this. And so maybe it was best for it, because look at it. AJ's going to go down in history as one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah. Alejandro Villarreal, $5, saying he remembers watching AJ Styles at Triple Mania event in Mexico, and he was great as the Mexican Lucha Libre style goes with him. I still think with Omos, though, like, again, it's tough pairing him with someone that's so big. I mean, when they were in that segment of his TV, almost looks like you could have kicked all three of their asses. Like, I think I think this is a mistake, having someone literally that overshadows them so much physically.
They're walking almost the big, tall giant that AJ Styles rolls with. They're walking down to the ring and almost like patted AJ Styles on the chest, like to say good luck. And almost his hand is literally the same size as AJ Styles'
his whole chest.
It took up his whole chest when he was patting him on the chest.
I'm excited to see what they do with him. He's a former college basketball player. It means he's got to be semi-athletic, right? Semi-coordinated. Yeah. I hope they're able to do something with him, because his look is so different. He's just enormous. How tall is he? Like 7'4", 7'5", or something? What is he?
I don't know. Compared to AJ, he looks 10 feet tall.
Seriously, he does. AJ's like, what, 5'10"?
He's 7'3".
Yeah, there you go. I believe that.
So there you go.
It's huge.
AEW Mark Morgan, $4.99. Will the three of you please predict what gimmick match will be next week for the New Year's match?
Oh, God. It's going to be somebody that, in my generation of SmackDown, definitely would have been one of the writers having to be pushed out there in a New Year baby diaper. What was that guy called? Oh, come on. What's the writer's name? You're friends with him, Clan. Come on. Slick Dick, whatever his name is. Dick something.
Oh, Big Dick Chris?
Yes.
What's his name? Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Big Dick Johnson. Isn't that what they called him on TV?
Yes, thank you. I thought you were friends with him, Glenn.
No? I don't know.
Oh, my bad. I thought like you knew him personally. That's the type of crap they're going to do. Something stupid like that. Like Baby New Year. Maybe it's Big Show this year has to do it. I don't know.
They'll probably have some backstage thing where they're going to all be drinking and having a party. So they'll just keep cutting back to that. And then somebody will go through a table. I think it'll be just a backstage brawl or something like that.
Yes.
Tonight, it occurred to me that it's Braun Strowman voicing 2020 in that horrible CG New Year's segment. Whenever that was pitched to him as an opportunity, like, hey, buddy, big opportunity for you. Voice our animatronic 2020 in this promo we're going to show a million times. I hate that promo so much. And I'm mad at this Bianca Belair anti-vaping promo for one reason and one reason only. That Bianca should have used her hair to whip the vape out of the girl's hand. And the fact they didn't do that, just such a lost opportunity.
I was going to say the same thing, lost opportunity. Yep.
It really is. I'm going to think about that now every time I watch a commercial, because they played it a lot tonight. And that is a really good thing they could have done.
Dude, it makes her like a superhero. I'm not trying to sound corny, but it does.
She hasn't done that in ages, though. Like, why did they back up? That, like, that's the coolest, like, one of the coolest things about her. Like, probably her coolest wrestling move.
I thought it made her look such a badass, like cooler, whatever the word is.
Yeah. I don't get it, man. Well, this podcast, once again, more interesting than Raw was tonight.
Dude, how many like messages do you guys get about that? Like, I get that every week. Like, I'm not even watching the show tonight. I just can't wait to see you guys tonight. You guys are way funnier. Like, that's bad. It's like WWE, come on, man. This is your flagship show.
Yeah. And I keep thinking they're lucky. I wish we could get away with that. I wish I could get away with not watching Raw and just doing the podcast instead.
Yes.
Yeah, if there's somehow they could just summarize it for us and we just get the bullet points.
Dude,
I would love that.
I'm telling y'all right now, the stuff that we would talk about would be way more entertaining than having to talk about this. All three of us, I guarantee it.
Yeah. Well, this is one for the books. Alfred, where can people find you on the Twitters?
This is nasty. Thanks, Dad. It's this is nasty, and just go on Forbes, read my articles. Gotta have a profile of Matt soon. We gotta bring the whole world together.
Yay!
And on YouTube, subscribe to me on YouTube, Pro Wrestling Bit.
And Matt Morgan, I give him a hard time. One podcast a year, I give him a hard time.
Way more than one time.
Yeah. But Matt, how's stuff going? What's that?
For the record, Glenn's one of my better friends, so Glenn gets to get away with it. Me and Glenn go at each other when it's always in a joking matter. People that have privately written me about our show, I tell it to them all the time. I have really beyond good chemistry with Glenn. So Glenn's one of the very few that I'll let go off like that and make fun of me and stuff like that. Because a wrestler, I'll tell you guys this, if you don't know this already, has a ton of pride. It could be 30 years after they're done wrestling. They still have a ton of pride in their craft. Because they bled, sweat, and paid the price, brother, to go become a wrestler, live out the childhood dream. So Glenn's one I always love to give it because I know it comes from a good place. Glenn, it's always all love, and he's family to me. So it is what it is. Where are you going to find me? Nowhere, because I'm busy. No, I'm joking. Instagram, Facebook, you guys know where normal places are.
Well, I was going to say, Matt, how's it going? You've turned some of our audience on to Thrive. And I was going to ask how that's all going.
Some of our super chatters tonight even have started on it. It's awesome. It legitimately works. It's a 3-step process, you guys. You take 2 pills in the morning, wait 20 minutes, drink a shake, then put on one of these stickers that slow releases natural energy throughout the day for you. So you don't get spiked energy levels where you get a headache 20 minutes later and things like that. It actually keeps your energy up all day and all through as long as you want to keep that sticker on. You put it on your inner ankle or in your inner wrist, basically, and the thinnest part of your skin of your body, if you will. So it gets into your bloodline faster. It's really amazing. It works well. My wife's dropped 26 pounds now on it in just I think 5 weeks.
Wow.
And I've put on now 38 pounds of muscle that I lost a ton of when I was campaigning. I wasn't eating. I wasn't able to get to the gym for about 7 months there. I looked like friggin' Skeletor Morgan there for quite a while. So I put on so whatever results you want to lose weight, you want to put on muscle, it's going to enhance it essentially is what this is going to do for you.
Very cool. We'll message Matt on Facebook. Correct, Matt?
Yeah.
Lastly, before we go, just a few super chats. Jackson Counts, $3.99. AJ Angelico would be fun for me. Good night.
Can I real quick? That would be hello. Yes, that would be amazing. I love the calling in on Helico. He's so underrated. Jax Collins, message me on Instagram, by the way, brother. Okay.
Yes.
Please.
Brian O10, $5 saying, is WWE setting up Keith Lee and Sheamus for the Royal Rumble match? Just asking, stay safe, guys. It's possible.
Yeah.
Keith Lee, but see, how do they get out of that? Because I'm hearing they're building Sheamus to wrestle frigging Drew eventually, right?
Yeah.
They can't possibly have Sheamus go over on this guy, right?
They shouldn't.
They can't be this stupid, right?
They probably will. If they're building him for Drew, he's almost certainly going to go over Keith Lee.
Yeah. Andrew Taylor saying he's in the UK, can't watch live, but never misses a show of our podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. And as Tammy's pointing out this Friday, Raj is making Matt and I work on Christmas, unless perhaps, there's still hope. He might be visited by 3 ghosts in the night. Let's hope and pray. But Wednesday, they'll be at the same time, but just covering NXT Wednesday, both of you and Raj. And then Friday night, me and Matt Morgan covering SmackDown on Christmas of all nights. So on that note, folks, everybody, I'll see you on the holiday. Have a good one. We'll catch you back here next time on the Wrestling Inc. podcast.